Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep, based on this market research report you shared, into a corner of the global economy that, well, it operates largely behind the scenes, but you likely interact with its products every single day. We're exploring the world of saturating kraft paper.
That's right. And this report, it gives us a really detailed look at the global market for this specific material we've got, the data, the forecasts, key players, and the trends shaping its future.
And our mission, as always, is to cut through all that detail, figure out what saturating kraft paper actually is, why it's important, where the market's heading, and most importantly, pull out the most vital nuggets of knowledge specifically for you, the listener.
And what immediately jumps out from the report are the numbers. I mean, this isn't a small niche. It's a multi-billion-dollar market,
Yeah.
valued at a USD 2,400 to 60 million back in 2025. And the report projects some pretty significant growth, estimating it'll hit USD 300 and 690.29 million by 2033.
Wow, okay. That translates to a steady compound annual growth rate, a CAG of 5.20% over that period. For something that sounds maybe a bit technical, saturating kraft paper, a multi-billion-dollar market growing over 5% annually, that's substantial.
It really is.
And here's where it gets, I think, really interesting for most people. The report shows this paper is basically a foundational material for laminates. You know, the durable surfaces on your floors, your countertops, maybe your desk or furniture. It's often the hidden layer making those everyday items tough.
Exactly. It's the core strength in many cases. So maybe let's start by understanding what this paper is and why it's seeing this kind of growth based on the drivers the report points to.
Okay, yeah. So the core product, as you said, is this specific type of paper used in laminates. That word saturating is key here, isn't it? It's designed to soak things up.
Precisely. It has this porous structure. It's engineered to allow it to be thoroughly impregnated, basically saturated with thermosetting resins, like epoxy or melamine. Then, when you apply heat and pressure, this saturated paper layer turns rigid, becomes incredibly durable, and resistant to wear, moisture, even chemicals.
Oh, okay.
That's what makes it so ideal for creating those robust surface materials we see everywhere: furniture, flooring, building applications.
Got it. So it starts as a sort of special paper sponge and ends up as armor when you add the resin and the pressure. So what are the big forces the report says are pushing this market forward, driving that growth?
The report points to a few key areas. First off, just significant growth in the construction and building materials industry globally. More buildings, more renovations.
Right, that means more demand for interior surfaces.
Naturally. And within those buildings, the report also notes a rising demand specifically for decorative laminates. People want surfaces that not only last, but, look good too. Aesthetics matter.
True. Style and substance.
Which ties directly into the third major driver mentioned, the booming furniture and flooring industries. As these sectors expand, especially in developing regions, the need for durable, cost-effective surface materials like those using saturating kraft paper just keeps increasing. So these three really, construction, decorative finishes, and the furniture flooring sectors, they're the engines behind that 5.2% projected growth.
It makes perfect sense how those industries directly, well, consume this material.
Yeah.
But are there speed bumps? Does the report mention challenges? What's holding the market back, or at least challenging that growth?
Yes, absolutely. The report flags a couple of important restraints. One is, well, it's the classic issue of fluctuating raw material prices, very common in any paper or pulp-based industry.
Yeah, wood pulp costs go up and down.
Exactly. And that uncertainty in the core material costs can impact profitability and the final pricing for laminates.
That's a clear challenge. What else did it mention?
Competition, specifically from alternative high-performance materials. The report mentions things like synthetic laminates, maybe plastic-based composites. These alternatives can offer different performance characteristics, maybe sometimes compete better on cost, or have specific properties like extreme flexibility or unique finishes, potentially limiting the demand for traditional kraft paper in certain, let's say, niche applications.
The constant pressure from innovation and alternatives.
Yeah.
So how does the market react? Are there specific trends the report highlights in response to these pressures?
Definitely. And interestingly, one major trend actually plays into paper's strengths. The report notes a rising demand globally for eco-friendly and sustainable products.
Okay, and that could potentially favor paper-based solutions like saturating kraft, right? Especially if it's sourced responsibly or includes recycled content.
It could, yes. It pushes back against some purely synthetic options, perhaps. And the report also lists advancements in paper processing technologies as a significant trend, meaning ongoing improvements in how this specific paper is made. maybe enhancing its performance, making it stronger, more consistent, or even more cost-effective to produce. All things that help it stay competitive against those alternatives.
So it's a market kind of caught between these strong traditional drivers like construction, the challenge from newer synthetic materials, and then this big pull towards sustainability and better technology. It's a fascinating interplay. Okay, we've mapped the forces. Let's look at the global picture the report paints. Where is this market making the biggest waves right now? And maybe more importantly, where is it growing fastest?
Yeah, looking at the market share distribution for 2025, North America actually held the largest piece of the pie, over 40% of the global revenue.
Over 40%. Wow.
Yeah, Europe was the next largest region with over 30%.
Okay, so together that's what, over 70% of the market in just North America and Europe in 2025? Then came Asia Pacific, or APAC.
Right, APAC with around 23% share. South America was smaller, just over 5%. The Middle East around 2%. And Africa the smallest share at roughly 1%. So yes, North America and Europe definitely dominate in terms of current market size.
But, and this is often the case, the report probably highlights a different story when you look at growth rates, projected between 2025 and 2033.
Exactly. That's where the picture shifts. While the global average CAGR is that 5.2%, APAC is forecasted to grow significantly faster. The report puts it at 6.6% CAGR.
Okay, so APAC, which had a smaller share, relatively speaking, in 2025, is expected to be the fastest growing region by quite a margin. What about elsewhere?
The Middle East and South America are also projected to grow faster than the global average. The report says 5.7% for the Middle East and 5.5% for South America. Africa is just under the average at 4.9%.
And the current leaders, North America and Europe.
They're forecasted to grow slowest. Europe at 3.6% CAGR, and North America, despite being the biggest market now, is projected to be the slowest growing region at just 2.8%.
What does that shift really tell us? Different stages of development.
I think so. It's just different stages of market maturity, different levels of construction and infrastructure development across these regions. The report actually gives some country-specific examples that really illustrate these trends quite well.
Okay, give us a few examples that stand out from the report.
Well, look at APAC again. China, already a massive market. The report says USD 506.27 million in 2025 is still growing strongly at 6.1% CAGR. That's driven by its huge furniture manufacturing base, ongoing industrial growth, and a just rapid urbanization needing materials.
Makes sense.
But maybe even more striking is India. Starting from a smaller base, about USD 120.54 million in 2025, but it's projected to grow at an impressive 8.5% CAGR.
8.5%. That's the fastest among the specific countries mentioned.
Yeah, by far.
Wow.
And the report links this rapid expansion directly to its booming commercial infrastructure and real estate sectors. Lots of new buildings needing laminates.
That kind of growth in India is really significant, way above the global average. How do the more, let's say, mature markets compare in the report's details?
Well, in North America, the U.S. market was obviously much larger in 2025, USD 368.78 million, but growing slower, as we said, 2.6% CGR, tied mainly to its existing large furniture and building sectors. Canada shows a bit more momentum, 3.6% CAGR, from a base of USD 56.09 million. The report notes the popularity of eco-friendly materials there and maybe more home remodeling activity driving demand.
Interesting. And in Europe, any standouts?
Germany is a major European player, USD 107.16 million in 2025, growing at 3.8%. The report links this to demand for high-performance laminates, maybe from its strong industrial and automotive sectors needing durable surfaces.
Right.
The UK, slightly smaller market at USD 90.92 million, but a bit faster growth at 4.4% CGR. The report points to influences from its retail sector, interior design trends, and perhaps stricter sustainability regulations pushing certain material choices.
It seems like even within those slower growing regions overall, specific local factors are really playing a role in driving demand. What about some of those smaller markets that are showing faster growth rates?
Yeah, in South America, Brazil, starting at USD 40.01 million in 2025, is growing at a healthy 6.1% CAGR, driven by building activity and also automobile manufacturing using laminates. Argentina, smaller still at USD 15.70 million, is projected slightly faster at 6.4%, with the report mentioning retail and hospitality sector expansion as key drivers there.
Okay. And the Middle East and Africa examples?
Qatar and Turkey, both starting around USD 7.87 million in 2025, show interesting growth. Qatar at 5.2% linked to big infrastructure projects and expanding upscale hospitality. Turkey's projected faster at 6.3%, driven more by general commercial and residential construction projects.
And Nigeria, you mentioned Africa was small overall.
Right. Nigeria's market was estimated at USD 4.33 million in 2025 with a 5.1% CAGR. But interestingly, the driver mentioned there in the report summary was industry expansion necessitating sustainable and safe packaging.
Ah, packaging. That's different from the dominant laminate focus we've been discussing from most other places.
It is. It's a good reminder of the broader utility of kraft paper, even within a report that's mostly zeroing in on the saturating kind for laminates. It shows the versatility.
Yeah, it really underscores how regional economic activity, whether it's huge urbanization in China, infrastructure in Qatar, or specific industry needs, like packaging in Nigeria, directly translates into demand for these foundational materials. That geographical shift towards APAC and other emerging markets seems like a really clear takeaway from the report you shared.
Definitely a key trend.
Okay, so we see the global map and the changing landscape. Let's zoom in even further now, like the report does, on the different types of saturating kraft paper and how they're used. It breaks it down by factors like weight and grade, right?
It does, starting with basis weight, which is
Oh.
essentially the paper's density or thickness, measured in grams per square meter, or GSM. The report says the more than 200 GSM category holds the dominant market share right now.
The heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And why is that? What makes it dominant?
Well, the report attributes its dominance to its exceptional strength, its resilience, and critically, its high capacity for resin absorption. You need a lot of resin for the toughest laminates. These properties are crucial for manufacturing high-pressure laminates, HPL. Think of those really durable surfaces used for demanding applications, heavy-duty countertops, high-traffic flooring, industrial work surfaces.
Oh, right.
HPL requires a really robust paper base that can withstand significant heat and pressure during manufacturing, and this heavier 200 GSM paper delivers that.
Got it. So thick paper for the really tough jobs like 8PL. But interestingly, the report notes that the next range down, 101 to 200 GSM, is actually the fastest growing segment.
Yes, that mid-range weight is seeing rapid growth. The report suggests it offers a really good balanced combination of strength and versatility, but still with excellent resin absorption. It's often used for low pressure and medium pressure laminates, LPL and MPL.
Okay, and what are those used for? LPL and MPL?
Think cabinetry, wall panels, general furniture surfaces, lighter construction needs, interior decor, things that need to be durable, but maybe not quite as bulletproof as an industrial countertop.
Right. And the growth drivers for this mid-range segment.
Seems to be demand for more affordable laminate options that still offer good durability and appearance. Plus, advancements in processing technologies are making this weight range increasingly effective and versatile for these kinds of applications. Its flexibility is also a plus for some decorative uses.
Okay, so the heavy stuff dominates the market value, likely because of its high-performance HPL niche. But the more versatile mid-range is expanding fastest by meeting demand for a broader range of maybe more common applications. Makes sense. How about paper grade? The report mentions bleached versus unbleached.
Right. And here, unbleached saturating kraft paper holds the largest market share.
Okay, why unbleached?
The reasons given are pretty straightforward. It's generally more affordable, it has inherent strength from less processing, and it's often perceived as more environmentally friendly compared to bleached alternatives. Its natural brown hue is also perfectly fine, or even preferred, for many industrial applications and inside furniture laminates where ultimate durability and resin absorption are the priority, not necessarily a bright white core.
And the driving factors specifically for unbleached.
Things like environmental regulations potentially favoring less chemical processing, general environmental concerns from buyers, its good mechanical properties, and simply lower manufacturing costs, practicality and cost effectiveness.
So practical and cost-effective dominates the current share. But just like with basis weight, there's a faster growing segment here too, right? The report says bleached paper is growing rapidly.
Exactly. Bleached saturating kraft is seeing rapid growth primarily because it offers improved aesthetics. It provides a brighter, more uniform color and a smoother surface finish within the laminate structure.
Which I imagine is crucial if you're making high-end decorative surfaces where the final look is paramount.
Precisely. It's often used in things like high-end countertops, decorative wall panels, and certain furniture applications where a sleek, vibrant, or perhaps very light-colored final laminate is needed. Its growth is driven by evolving consumer tastes towards modern designs, the need for strong surfaces that are also easily printable with complex patterns before lamination, good resin absorption, and importantly, advancements in more eco-friendly bleaching technologies that address some of the environmental concerns.
That's interesting. So this segment really shows how appearance and those environmental considerations are both influencing material choices alongside pure performance.
Definitely. It's not just about strength anymore.
It's fascinating how the report highlights both cost and durability driving the largest segments, like heavy and unbleached. But then appearance, versatility, and maybe sustainability driving the fastest growth in the others, like the midweight and bleached options.
Yeah.
Now, what about the main things people are actually making with all this paper, the applications? Where does the report say the biggest demand comes from?
Flooring. The report states that flooring holds the largest market share as an application. The increasing global need for durable and aesthetically pleasing floor laminates is just a primary driver.
Makes sense. Flooring is a huge market.
And saturating kraft paper's properties, its ability to absorb resin, its resilience, its resistance to moisture, and wear once it's laminated, make it an ideal core material for laminate flooring planks. Growth here is boosted by, again, new residential and commercial construction, renovation trends, and continuous improvements in laminate flooring technology itself, making it look better and last longer.
Okay, so flooring is the big one now. But which application is growing the quickest, according to the report?
Countertops. The report identifies countertops as the fastest growing application segment.
Really? Faster than flooring. Why?
Well, there's a significant and growing demand for strong, yet aesthetically appealing, surface materials in both homes, kitchens, bathrooms, and commercial spaces like offices, labs, restaurants.
And this paper is key to making those laminate countertops.
Absolutely. Its strength, its flexibility to some extent, and that outstanding resin absorption capacity make it perfect for creating both the super tough HPL countertops and also more standard LPL ones. The growth here seems fueled by kitchen and bathroom renovations, new office constructions, all needing surfaces that are resistant to impact, moisture, maybe some heat, while also looking good. And the trend towards more economical yet stylish and perhaps sustainable updates also supports the use of these laminates.
Okay, so flooring is the current big volume player, but countertops are where the rapid expansion is happening. That likely reflects those trends in renovations and interior design focus. Finally, under these segments, let's look at end use, where these applications like flooring and countertops ultimately end up. Household versus industrial.
Right. And the household segment is the largest end-use market, according to the report. This basically encompasses all the laminates used in flooring, countertops, cabinets, tables, furniture within homes. Consumers are looking for surfaces that are durable, attractive, easy to clean and maintain, and laminates often fit that bill really well.
What's driving this large household demand? Any specifics in the report?
It mentions factors like the growing popularity of modular kitchens, increased home remodeling projects generally, and maybe a growing consumer preference for sustainable yet visually appealing surface materials, which laminates can offer.
Okay, so home use is the biggest chunk. But which end-use sector is growing fastest? Is it household too?
No, actually, the report points to the industrial category as the rapidly growing sector for end use.
Industrial. Why is that growing faster?
Well, its rapid growth seems to stem from the high strength and durability requirements in many industrial settings. Saturating kraft paper, especially when made into HPL or other robust laminates, is used in various industrial applications. Think about tough, durable packaging materials, electrical insulating panels, specialized laminate surfaces for factory workstations or clean rooms, even components within the automotive sector or other manufacturing processes, as well as specific construction laminates for commercial buildings.
So while most of us probably think of this stuff in our homes, its use in industrial settings is where the report sees the quickest expansion rate.
Yes. Driven by ongoing industrial expansion globally, the need for durable and potentially more ecological materials in manufacturing and construction environments, and advancements that make these laminated panels increasingly viable substitutes for other materials in demanding settings. And that industrial end-use category would also include that specific packaging application noted for Nigeria earlier.
All right, it fits there. Okay, wow. We've really dissected the product, where it's used, and the demand drivers. Let's shift to the companies making this happen. Who are the major players in this market based on the report you provided, and what kinds of strategies are they employing?
Well, the report characterizes the market, perhaps unsurprisingly, as fiercely competitive. It's a big market with established players. And the leading companies seem to be focusing their strategies on a few key areas. Things like regional expansion to tap into those faster-growing markets we talked about, definitely enhancing their sustainability credentials, and constantly working on developing new or improved products, maybe stronger paper, better saturation, etc.
The report lists several key players. I see big names like International Paper Company, Westrock Company, Ahlstrom Munks Joe, Stora Enso, but also others maybe less known globally, like Pudumji Paper Products from India or Kaka Mills.
That's right. It's a mix of global giants and strong regional specialists. And their strategic actions often involve pretty significant corporate moves, things like mergers and acquisitions to gain market share or technology, and direct investments in new manufacturing tech. The report gives us a couple of specific examples of this.
Yeah, like I see a mention of Stora Enso launching a virgin fiber kraft liner a couple of years ago. How does that fit in?
Yes, that moved back in June 2022. While kraftliner is typically for packaging board, the report likely included it to show a broader strategic push by a major player using kraft materials, focusing on improving packaging sustainability and robustness. It shows their investment in the underlying kraft technology and sustainability angle, which is relevant across their portfolio, including potentially saturating grades.
Okay, so it shows the direction. What about Group acquiring Kotka Mills? That sounds more direct.
Exactly. That acquisition, completed around August 2021, was explicitly noted in the report summary as strengthening Group's position in recycled carton board, yes, but also diversifying them specifically into the saturating kraft paper market. They leveraged Kotka Mill's existing expertise and production in that specific area, so that's a clear consolidation move targeting this niche.
Right, buying into the market. There's also mention here of Mondi launching a new paper machine.
Correct. Back in January 2021, the note says it was dedicated to producing specialty kraft paper, specifically mentioning shopping bags as an application, using both fresh and recycled fibers. Now again, like the Nigeria example and the Stora Enso one, this focuses on packaging, which the report does classify as an industrial end use for kraft paper overall. But the key takeaway is the investment in modern kraft paper technology with a strong emphasis on sustainability and recyclability without sacrificing strength. These are strategies and capabilities highly relevant across different types of kraft paper, including the saturating kind.
Okay, so the competitive landscape is definitely dynamic. You've got major players making these big strategic investments, acquisitions, focusing on technology, often with a really clear eye on sustainability. And that's happening both within the specific saturating kraft niche and across the broader kraft paper market, which supports it.
Absolutely. It shows a clear recognition from these companies that to stay competitive, they need to innovate not just in the performance of the paper itself, but also in its environmental impact and their global reach.
We have covered a remarkable amount of ground on this material that's, as we said, likely all around us, yet largely invisible day to day. We've seen its significant global market size and that steady projected growth. We understand it's fundamentally driven by construction, furniture, and flooring industries needing those durable laminates, while navigating challenges from alternative materials and those fluctuating raw material prices.
And we looked at those fascinating regional shifts in growth, especially the real momentum building in the Asia-Pacific region. And we drilled down into the specific segments by weight, by grade, by application, by end use, seeing how different properties like strength versus appearance or cost versus sustainability cater to different needs and drive quite varied growth rates within the overall market.
Right. Heavy and unbleached dominate share, but midweight and bleached are growing fastest. Flooring is the biggest application, but countertops are accelerating. Household is the largest end use, but industrial is expanding most rapidly. Lots of nuances.
And we've seen how the competitive players are actively shaping this market through strategic investments, M&A, and technological advancements, with that clear emphasis on sustainability influencing many of their moves.
So based on this really thorough deep dive into the report you provided, what's a final thought, something to leave with the listener to chew on?
Well, considering those strong trends, the report repeatedly notes towards eco-friendly and sustainable products on one hand, and the constant competitive pressure from alternative high-performance materials like synthetics on the other. It raises a really interesting question, I think. How will the ongoing advancements in paper processing technologies, which the report also highlights as a key trend, how will those continue to influence the balance between traditional saturating kraft paper solutions and those newer alternatives in the coming years?
Mm.
I mean, will the innovations in papermaking allow craft paper to potentially outcompete synthetics more often on performance or cost, while also holding on to that sustainability advantage? It makes you think about how these behind-the-scenes material science battles might quietly shape the durability, the appearance, and maybe the environmental footprint of the floors, the countertops, the furniture surfaces you encounter every single day. It's a hidden but constantly evolving landscape, and definitely one worth watching.